Our coverage now with Jeremy Saltan, political advisor for Naftali Bennett's Yamina Party. Thank you, Jeremy, for being with us. I know you love American sports, Jeremy. In baseball, Yogi Berra was the one who coined the phrase that it ain't over till it's over. How confident are you then that there will actually be a deal before, technically, it's too late to make one?
I'm very confident that we will have a deal. We should talk about the way the timeline works in terms of how does a new government actually be formed. What happens is in the first stage, and this is, of course, the midnight deadline that everyone is talking about, is we need to say that we have a government. We don't have to go ahead and present it. We do have to say which parties have agreed to be a part of it. And that is, of course, a conversation between the one who has the mandate legally, which is Yair Lapid, and President Rivlin, who is the one who gave that mandate to Lapid. The Likud tried beforehand with various spins to say that this was not legal. The president's residence already came out saying that Bennett can be prime minister even if Lapid has the mandate. And once we're past that part of saying we do have a government, that puts us in a situation where we need to submit the coalition agreements and the coalition guidelines for the public and the Knesset to read for 24 hours. And then afterwards, we can go ahead and call a vote. And that might not at this point take place till next week, although I would very much hope that we could do this and wrap it all up before the weekend this week.
Jeremy, talk to me about the threats that are happening right now for Yamina lawmakers, the incitement perhaps, and some of the specific images and specific violent threats being made against the list.
I mean, it's something I can tell you, and as you guys know, I'm a veteran here of Israeli politics. I've never experienced this type of thing. We had the crucial meeting a couple days ago in the Yamina party headquarters in Ra'anana, where we made the decision to go forward with this government, to go with Yair Lapid. And just to go ahead and secure that meeting, it was not enough to just have the Secret Service and the Shin Bet. We also had to have a platoon of police that were securing us. There were protesters outside with loudspeakers. There were ones that were able to somehow get into the building and tried to make it to the floor that we were on to interrupt the meeting that was taking place where we were supposed to be going ahead, and we did make these votes. And of course, I can tell you from speaking to all of my friends on the list, we're talking about death threats. We're talking about constant messages, whether it's social media or on people's phones. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, there are protests outside of their house nonstop. Some of them have actual tents that were erected across the street. And you have a situation where both Naftali Bennett and Ayelet Shaked are at a level 5 out of a possible 6 in terms of security detail from the state. And we're really getting towards a place where I believe it will end up getting to the most maximum level, most likely before we get into that crucial vote, perhaps even this week.
Jeremy, we're almost out of time here, but I want to ask your take on this. You know, Naftali Bennett brings with him 6 seats, and with those 6 seats, you get a prime minister, you get 2 other ministers, you get a veto, you get a right-wing majority on the security cabinet, you get a lot. Isn't Shaked's demand right now about the whole Judicial Appointments Committee, is this kind of is this reaching too much? Is this greedy if it ends up holding up the talks 1 minute longer than it needs to be?
So it's not an issue of greed. I'll explain it briefly. As you mentioned, there's a veto power, which was something that was an elementary aspect of this agreement that we have. And this is what's needed in order to make sure that we have the glue that's necessary for this term to actually last the entire time. Right. So in order to do that, the way the Ministerial Committee of Legislative Affairs works, you have 9 members, you need 7 votes in order to be able to be nominated successfully. So what we said is the right wing needs to have 3 votes on that committee, and that will give the right veto power over having anyone on the left trying to put in justices that we would not like, which would cause perhaps MKs on the backbenches of our party or other parties to quit the coalition and have everything fall down. It's much better that we deal with these issues up on top, up front, and resolve them before we go in. This is one of the big hurdles to deal with. And also, it's not greedy because like I said, it's necessary for that veto power, which we need in order to be able to block initiatives, as well as, their ability to block initiatives on our end, to make sure that we're able to focus on what the Israeli people want, which is a government that's going to work for them and not deal with all these ideological issues, which it's quite, obvious to everyone we won't be able to do in this Knesset.
Yeah. All right, Jeremy, thank you so much for being with us. I know you liked my "It Ain't Over Till It's Over," a reference, as you know, to the Chicago Cubs back in the 70s when they came from behind to win the National League pennant that year. Jeremy, thank you so much for being with us. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me, Jeff. Great to see you.